Hey everyone, Mama Shark here. For those of you that don't know me, I have two children under two boys. One is 4 months old and the other one is a year and a half. And I've had to exclusively pump for both of them and for different reasons, which I can go over later. Everybody's been really waiting for this review on these two pumps that are actually cordless and quiet pumps. And one is made here in the US, which is the Willow, and the other one is made in the UK, which is the Elvie pump that just came out. And I will basically, just a little introduction about myself. I want to hit on all the controversial issues of postpartum life. I want to talk about that in my channel. I also want to talk about things that people usually don't like to talk about. I want to be as real as possible for you guys, so you might hear my babies in the background. I'm going to be basically unfiltered. So feel free to subscribe. I will start a series on my weight loss journey, postpartum weight loss. I will also talk about colic. So I will do all of that later, so feel free to subscribe. Anyway. Alright guys, so just a little introduction on the things that I'm going to be addressing in my video. First of all, I'm going to talk about the weight. I'm going to talk about what it looks like when they're both in your bra. I'm going to talk about bras. I'm going to talk about how many pieces you're going to deal with and cleaning and what they come with. We're going to talk about the sound, which one is quieter, output of course, battery life, and the app comparison. So please stay tuned. So first thing I want to talk about is the number of pieces. Here you have the Elvie pump. And in this one, you'll see that it's a lot lighter, which I can take the actual weight for you if you want. But this one is a lot lighter, smaller, and smaller sideways as well. And this one obviously takes bags. This one doesn't take bags. The Elvie doesn't take bags. Basically, to unplug, you press this button here. You have this little 5-ounce container, and then you have this little flange and this little rubber piece that creates the suction. And this is all you have here basically. So this is the Elvie pump. Flange, the bottle, this piece, and a little plastic piece that goes on top. So these are the pieces of the Elvie. You put it on. These are the pieces that you have to clean and sanitize, as well as this little rubber piece and these two. So these are washable and you can sanitize them at high temperatures. This, of course, you can't. This is the actual pump. To put it together, you just do this, clicks in, you take this, and you click it in here. And that's it. It's ready for use. You have the on button, the power button. You have this little button that switches between left and right. You have the play pause and the plus and the minus, which increase and decrease suction power. Going on to the Willow. The Willow, the pieces that you have to sanitize. The flex tube, the actual plastic flange, and that's it. It's just two pieces comparing to the Elvie. It's really easy to take apart as well. This is the bag, which that on its own is disposable, so you have to actually use a new one every time you pump. And here's the flex tube, and here's the actual flange. So you put it on by pressing this in, closing this in, and closing this part. And of course you have to put the bag on and putting the pump together this way. So this is the Willow, and now it's ready for use. You have the power button, the up and down suction powers, and the play pause button here. The Willow actually tells you which one is left and which one is right. Whereas for this, you can interchange. Okay guys, so now we're gonna talk about the actual sound. They both claim to be quiet pumps. And here we're gonna see which one is quieter. So I'm gonna turn each one on and put it from the same distance from the camera and the microphone, and you can judge for yourself which one you think is quieter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the Willow here, and then put the Elvie, and I'm going to turn them on. There's the Willow. Bear in mind, guys, the Willow will stop after a few seconds because it will sense when it's sucking air, and basically it'll sense when it's not properly placed on the breast, and this one will keep going. But it makes sense. It's because this one has bags and this one doesn't, so it doesn't really matter that much. Anyway, I'm going to start the Willow pump now. I'm going to place this so I don't move it here, and go ahead and start the Willow pump. And it stopped. But okay. And then now the Elvie pump. Sorry guys, that's my baby in the background. You guys hear that? It's a little, here, I'm gonna bring it closer now. That's what the Elvie sounds like. Turning it off. Okay, so bottom line, the Elvie is quieter. I would say this one's quieter. Now let's talk about the efficiency and output. So one thing I will say, they're complete opposites when it comes to suction power. The Willow, the first time I tried it, it was so efficient, I want to say, that it borderline left my nipples blue. But don't be afraid. After a few times of using it, it kind of stopped doing that. So I wonder if, you know, the first time it was just a learning curve, or maybe just the nipple's not used to it. So it turned pretty, it looked like it was bruised. Whereas with the Elvie, even at the highest suction, which they say there's 7 levels, even at the highest suction, it was so comfortable. It was actually one of the most comfortable pumps I've ever pumped with. And but unfortunately, output did kind of, I did get a little bit less output from the Elvie pump. So with the Willow, I've managed before, and I'm just in general, I've managed to get 4 ounces per pump. And the Elvie, I only got 2 ounces, and I'm talking in a 20-minute session. So in a 20-minute session, the Willow was definitely more effective when it comes to output. Now, knowing that this is more comfortable, you could probably keep it on for a little bit longer. So, so you have that to think about. I do want to talk about the price. So in the UK currently, I bought this from the UK, and in the UK, it is a little bit more expensive than what they're predicted they're going to sell in the US. And they're saying that it's going to be $4.79 in the US for 2 pumps. In the UK, they give you the option to buy just one or the double. And converted from pounds to US dollars, it came out to be $573. Okay, so now talking about the price of the Willow. The Willow was also $4.79, but that excludes the taxes, the shipping, which you're charged for, and also the bags. And the bags, you just have to keep resupplying yourself with bags or you can't really pump. And each bag is a little bit over 50 cents because you're considering how much it costs, which is $11.99 for 24 bags, and then the taxes, and then the shipping of the bags. So you have to take that into consideration, whereas the Elvie is just that initial investment. And obviously if you ever need to change any parts. So yeah, comparing both, the Willow is a little bit more of an investment. Another thing to consider with the Willow, the flanges, the 27 millimeters, come separately, so you have to purchase these, and these are $29.99. Whereas with the Elvie comes with the 24 and the 27 in the same box. So that's another thing. All right, guys, so let's talk about charging now, which is a big part of using this pump. The Elvie comes with 2 USB cables, and again, there's an unboxing video, so feel free to watch that to see what exactly comes with it. But 2 USB cables, so you can charge both pumps at the same time. The outlet plug that came with this one doesn't actually, is not compatible with US outlets, so I actually connected it to my computer. And then when I connected it to the computer, going from 0 to 100% battery charged, it took 2.5 hours. The Willow comes with 1 charger, and it is a charger that you have to put in an outlet in a wall. It's not USB compatible. And because it comes with 1 charger, you have to charge 1 at a time. And this one actually charged in around 2 hours. Speaking of sessions, how many sessions can you get on a full battery? I usually pump around 20 minutes. Using the Willow, it went around 6 sessions on a full battery. And the battery tend to save, even with, there were some days I went without using the Willow, and the battery didn't diminish as much as the Elvie. The Elvie's battery lost power a lot quicker. With the Elvie, I got 4 20-minute sessions, and I will say it did die during one of them did die during the last, halfway through the last session. I had it on maximum suction power because if you remember, this is a little less efficient with suction. And this one was on the least suction power. So bear in mind that it went longer on the least suction power, not the highest. This was on the highest suction power to really get milk out. It really needed to be on the highest suction power. So that's when it comes to charging and power. Up next, I'll show you the app comparison, but just really briefly, I will say, in the apps, which I will show you how they both look like, I really found that the Willow app is a lot more intuitive and easy to use, and the Elvie app was a little bit more disconnected, and it took me a little bit longer to figure it out. So I will show you up next. Okay guys, so here are the 2 apps. You see the Willow in blue and the Elvie pump in gray. And we'll start with going into the Willow pump first. As you can see here, you see the last session. You will see that I pumped 5.8 ounces. We have how much I pumped on the right and how much I pumped on the left. And the green and the blue circle will actually change according to how much you pumped on each side, which is very easy to look at and understand.
and really helpful. And if you look at the bottom, you'll see tabs, the home tab, which is what we're at, the history tab, store, help, and settings. And I can show you what's in each tab, but as you can see here, this is a very user-friendly app that I actually really enjoyed using. So now we can move forward to the next screen. You'll see here under the history all my pump sessions and how much I pumped on each date. Under the store, you can actually buy whatever you need, including bags, flanges, flex tubes, chargers, whatever you need. Under the help, it's actually really helpful videos showing you how to properly use the Willow. And then finally, we have the settings. Now I'm going to show you the Elvie pump app. It does show you in milliliters, which is different from the ounces in the Willow, which I felt like I needed to convert back to ounces to really know how many ounces my baby was getting or how many ounces I was pumping. It shows you at the top left corner, left and right, and how many minutes and how much you pumped. Here's the tabs and the controls, and this is where you can actually increase and decrease suction power if needed, which is great, instead of having to go directly on the pump. That's a little different from the Willow. And then there's also a status bar that shows you your battery life and percentage, whereas the Willow just shows you bars. And then you can see history and how much you pumped in each section. Going to getting started, that's in comparison to the videos that you saw previously with the Willow. Here you'll actually see animation of how you can get started and start your pumping journey with the Elvie, instead of the actual videos that Willow had. And finally, you can see pump info if needed.
Last but not least, this is the fun part. A lot of us have to use these in public, which means they're gonna be on in public, and we don't really want people to know that we're pumping. And that's the whole point of being able to use this on the go. So I'm going to put both of these on. I'm going to put the Elvie on the right and the Willow on the left and show you what they look like. I mean, we can already tell which one's going to look bigger, the Willow, and which one's going to feel heavier, the Willow. But the Willow has bags. The Elvie doesn't. So it's all about what really works for you. So if you're traveling, this one might be better because you get to pump and put the bag away and not worry about it spilling everywhere. If you're not traveling and you can easily empty into a bottle, the Elvie might be better. So it really depends on what fits best in your lifestyle. So the moment of truth. Okay guys, so I have both pumps in. This is the Willow. We'll start on this side. This is what the Willow looks like. This is the Elvie. This is what the Elvie looks like. As predicted, the Elvie is a lot smaller, but to be honest, they look abnormal both ways. So, I mean, it really doesn't really matter at this point. I don't think the fact that the Willow is a little bit bigger doesn't really make a difference for me. But, you know, everybody's different. So, I think these are all the points that I can think of to compare both these pumps. So feel free to leave a comment, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about these two pumps. I think it's awesome that we're moving in the right direction when it comes to pumping. We might not be completely there yet, but you know, these are lifesavers. So definitely invest in one of them. Thank you so much for watching.